Our top focus at this hour as tensions between Israel and Lebanon's Hezbollah group continue to rise. The Israeli military on Friday said that it fired interceptor missiles after a drone launch from Lebanon crossed its northern border. The Israeli forces gathered their warplanes to track the drone after it entered the territory. Hours later, investigations concluded that the drone had returned to Lebanon. The Iran-backed Hezbollah group, meanwhile, has issued a statement claiming responsibility for the air incursion. Hezbollah said on Friday that it had sent the drone inside Israel to tour a targeted area. The incident comes just a day after Israel shot down what it said was another drone from Hezbollah. Earlier this week, the Hezbollah chief said that the group has been manufacturing military drones in Lebanon and has the technology to turn thousands of missiles into precision-guided munitions.
بدي أقول للإسرائيلي معركتك بين حروب أدت إلى نتائج ممتازة لنا وأنت الخسران، أنت مش ربحان، بالعكس. شو تحويل التهديد إلى فرصة؟ ما يلي: أول نقطة، أنا أستطيع اليوم أن أعلن أنه منذ سنوات مش هلأ نتيجة أنه هذا نحن نواجه تهديد نقل الصواريخ الدقيقة إلى لبنان. طيب، بالتعاون مع إخواننا، وعندنا أذكياء وعندنا تقنيين وعندنا ناس متخصصين، وبالتعاون أيضا مع الخبراء في الجمهورية الإسلامية، نحن أصبح لدينا قدرة على تحويل صواريخنا الموجودة بالآلاف على تحويل صواريخنا إلى صواريخ دقيقة.
Israel and the Hezbollah group have been embroiled in a conflict since their month-long war in 2006 that ended in a stalemate. Israel considers the Iran-backed Hezbollah to be its immediate threat. Now, for more details on this news development, now joining us live is our correspondent Gadi Francis from Beirut in Lebanon. Gadi, welcome to Beyond World is One. Now, a few days back, Nasrallah announced that it would be manufacturing precision drones, and on Friday, then the IDF claimed that they had to scramble jets to counter Hezbollah drones. How much is known about these drones and their capabilities, and should there be a concern for Israel?
Well, first of all, let's start with acknowledging that this drone exchange is nothing new between Lebanon and Israel. I'm taking you back to August 2019 when two Israeli drones actually flew over Beirut. One of them exploded right across the street from the media and communication office for Hezbollah, which is basically a civilian political kind of office in the southern suburb of Beirut. And also a few weeks back, the IDF spokesperson declared that they have captured a Hezbollah drone and confiscated some of the footage in it. So this drone exchange is nothing new. But what is new about Friday's Hassan drone is that it flew for 40 minutes and for an area of 70 kilometers without even though there were certain attempts to hunt it down, but the Israeli defense system was not able to capture it. So yes, it is of a concern for Israel. One, because it flew for 40 minutes and 70 kilometers and it took data and gathered information and flew back safe. And two, because it showed a kind of a glitch in the defense system. And three, because Hezbollah has showed over the years in Lebanon for the Israelis and the world that they always have something hidden. So this might be only a test for the IT, for the technical issues. And who knows, we might also have a different drone declared by Hezbollah that could fly further and for longer periods of time.
Right. Now, Gadi, Hezbollah also happens to be a party in Lebanon. So how does this help them politically? And is there anything about the timing of this maneuver?
Well, yes, Hezbollah is not only any party in Lebanon. It is basically the strongest party in Lebanon. It has an unshakable presence in the parliament and an unquestionable role and influence in governance. And it has the support, with its alliances internally, the support of almost half of the Lebanese citizens. When this happens, when Hezbollah shows its presence in the front against Israel, it is basically practicing its raison d'etre. It is basically regaining emotional support of the Lebanese people as a protector, as a resistor from the Israeli threats, because every day, almost every week, we have Israeli airstrikes targeting Syria and flying over Beirut. As for the timing, we cannot disregard the fact that meanwhile, Lebanon and Israel are present at a certain table of indirect negotiations around the maritime border dispute, around the gas and oil present in the Mediterranean waters, and this is by the mediation of the United States and the United Nations. So this drone, Hassan, can also be serving as a leverage for Lebanon in that sense. And we cannot also disregard that Hezbollah is Iran's strongest armed ally in West Asia. And some reports suggest that this front is also aligning with what's happening between the Houthis and the UAE and Saudi Arabia on one side, and what's happening between the Iranians and the Americans in Vienna on the other.
Right, Gary Francis, thank you so much for all those insights, and thanks for joining us on WION at this hour.
WION World is One is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.